Okay, so welcome back to the third part of our video tutorial on creating this rock, paper, scissors game, the GUI version. And the very last thing we worked on was to create the conditions for the rock, scissors choices from the users and the computer. So right now what really happens is if you just click begin, we already set the computer to just choose scissors. That was the very last condition. So if we as the user chose rock, then of course that means we're gonna be winning, or the user is gonna win in that case, and that's why we have the you win method. Now we're gonna be working on adding the remaining conditions from where we stopped. And so that means we're gonna go to this line here on line 86. So I'm going to shift this aside and let's get to work. So now we're going to do the last part of the rock series, which is going to be elif. Now we're going to say if user choice is equals to rock and computer choice is equals to paper, then of course the player picture that we're going to be putting is again the rock. So that's the rock dot gif. And then of course moving on, the player option will be called so that that picture can be inserted. And then the computer, we're going to be adding actually first we're going to be adding computer picture, and that's going to be equal to, well, before that, one more thing we need to do is just do the screen.add paper for the computer picture, because we don't have screen.add shape, if you remember, in our computer option function that we have at the top. So once we've done that, then now we're going to be setting the computer picture, which would use the computer hand to be able to insert that photo, and then of course call the function, which is going to be computer option. Okay, so computer option, and then of course the circular brackets. And then finally, we're going to set the coordinates. So this is supposed to be where it's now rock and paper. So that means the computer is winning. So that means the picture we're going to be putting in is win 2. If you remember, we have that where it says computer wins. And this picture is pretty long, so we kind of have to take it all the way to the left side. So let's put it as 110. We'll see how that works out to place the picture in the center, and y is equals to 0. And then finally, we're going to put the picture equal to win2 so that we can show that photo. So win2.gif, that's the picture that says computer wins. And then finally call the winning title. Okay, so that's done for the rock and paper. So the rock series is over. The next one is the scissors part. And before we do the scissors choice, we're going to do an actual run of this program just to see that it works properly. One thing I like to do is just put a nice comment here that indicates this is the rock choice. And now we're working on the scissors choice. So I'm going to change the computer's choice to the computer now choosing paper, and I'm going to choose rock and see if everything's working fine. So here, computer choice is now going to be paper. And so let's run it and see. So you have to kind of run this to see if you're placing everything well, and then just kind of follow the same pattern for the remaining ones. So click on begin, and let's zoom out a little. And then of course I'm going to widen this so you can see. So I need to choose rock. And remember that the computer is going to be choosing paper. So it says computer wins. It really does look good. I feel like it's okay at that stage, but we can take the writing down. So if you want to take the computer wins further down, further up, then you can increase the, or decrease the y coordinate. But I feel like this is pretty okay because it's kind of in the middle. So if I take it 2 up, I might not have enough space and doesn't look good. If I take it 2 down, it's also going to be 2 down. So for me, this is pretty okay. So now let's go into making the scissors part. So the same thing is going to happen where it's going to be constant choice for the user. That's just always going to be scissors, but then the computer will be changing its choice. So we're doing those conditions. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on lines 99. And so the scissors condition will begin as, again, elif user choice is equals to scissors. We're going to do scissors, scissors first. And then, of course, we're going to come down and say player is equal to scissors. Put the picture of the scissors. And remember how we did the rock in the beginning. We had to just put only the computer. We didn't need to add screen.add shape because we're putting the same photo twice. So if we did the screen.add shape, remember what I said was the previous picture would disappear, and we don't want that. So here we're just going to put on computer, And so put the picture for the computer that also chooses scissors, and then hit enter, and now call the computer option function, which is the one that's going to be inserting this picture. And then finally use the coordinates. So scissors, scissors is very similar to rock, rock. So we're using the same coordinates, 280 and 60 for a tie. So that's what I'm going to do. X is 280, and then Y is equals to 60. And then of course we're going to go with picture, and that's equals to a tie. So tie.gif. And then of course we're going to now call the winning title function. Remember, we have to do this because that's the one that actually inserts the pictures. We have that function. So winning underscore title. Okay, so we're not going to test this yet until we finish our scissors conditions. We still have 2 more conditions for scissors to go. Then we're going to test it and see how it works. So here we're going to go into now doing scissors and paper, or scissors and rock. We could do scissors and rock first. So if user choice again is equal to scissors and computer, oh, be careful with that, come out of the quotation marks, and computer choice is equal to rock, then in that case we'll hit enter. So we're going to be basically putting in the picture for player. So player is equals to scissors dot gif, and then of course we're going to be doing player option, calling that function so it can insert it. And then now we need to put a different picture, so we're going to use the screen.add shape thing so that we can insert rock, which is the computer's choice. And then of course from there we move on to now putting in the computer option function, calling that in so that the function could be able to insert the picture that the computer's chosen. And now that we're putting scissors and rock, so obviously rock is going to break scissors, so this means the computer wins. And according to our coordinates, if you go back again, where the computer actually wins, which is where it was rock, paper, so computer won here, the coordinates we used was x is equals to 110 and y is equals to a 0. So we're going to stick to those coordinates, which is where it puts the title saying computer wins. So picture will be equal to win2.gif. And then of course we're going to be calling this winning title. And that's it. And then now we are going to do the elif condition. What about if scissors and paper has now been the choice? So again, this means player will be getting scissors picture. We will call the player function, and of course we will be adding the paper picture for the computer. And so computer will now be equal to paper, and then we call the computer option function so that can be able to insert that picture. And then of course now we have scissors and paper, so that means user is winning. And if you remember the coordinates where user actually wins, which is where we have rock and scissors, we're using these coordinates where x is 200 and y is 40. So we're just going to use those same coordinates. So x is 200 and of course y is equals to 40. And then the picture that we're going to be putting in is called win1. That's the one that says you win. So win1.gif, and then finally we're going to be putting in the winning title, and that's it. So that's going to be inserting that picture right there. So we've inserted our 3 conditions for scissors. Now we can test them out. We can just be changing if you want to test them out, go back again to the part where you said computer choice, and let's do scissors first. So we'll do scissors, scissors as a test case 1. So let's run the program. So click on run. And I'm going to zoom out a little because it's too zoomed in. So this looks pretty good. Now if I click on begin, okay, so it's starting and it's asking me to now enter my choice. So the computer is currently choosing scissors. So I'm going to choose scissors as well. So we have scissors, scissors, and it says it's a tie, so that makes sense. Now let's run it again. I'll click on begin and we start again. So my choice, before you run it for the second time, go back to your code and change the computer's choice. So we did scissors, scissors. Now we're going to do scissors, rock. Then we'll do scissors, paper. So stop it and rerun it. So this is test case 2. So now when you click on begin, you should be able to add the computer is choosing rock. So if I do scissors, rock, what happens. So scissors, rock. Okay, there is no shape named. We have a slight error here. And it's computer hand. Let's see, line. We have a little arrow on computer underscore hand dot shape computer. So there's no shape like scissors, and the computer is now choosing rock. So let's look at that condition right there. So scissors and rock. We've put in the player option to be scissors, and then we've put in the computer option to be, oh, okay. So one little thing we forgot to do in this one was to set the computer choice as well. So computer is equal to, remember what we always have to do. We also have to assign this picture so we can add it to this function when it actually calls, because if you go back to this computer option function, we have to be able to use the computer hand to add the shape, and that shape is this picture that we assigned here. And so that was what was missing. This part of the code was missing. So now let's try to run it again. So we'll run it one more time and let's see if we have gotten rid of that error. So click on begin, and I'm going to select scissors because the computer is selecting rock. And so now it works, and it says computer wins because rock breaks scissors. So now we're going to go back and change again this computer choice from rock to paper, and I'm still going to select scissors. So that's paper and scissors, so that means I'm supposed to win. So now I'm going to stop and rerun it again. Click on begin one more time. And then here it says, which do you choose, rock, paper, or scissors? And I'm going to say scissors again. Yeah, so scissors again. Oh, scissors. And then I'll hit enter. So now we have that, and it's saying you win. So that makes sense. So everything works properly. So now we're going to be putting in our next condition, and that's going to be for the paper now. So we finished the condition for scissors. So we're going to do hashtag paper. And I'm going to continue on lines 130. And one thing I also want to teach you here is at the end of this game, we're going to ask users to please complete a feedback form. So we're going to put like, I actually wanted to put a nice screen that's going to say, please complete a feedback form. I'll just say hit enter right after the game has ended. Once they decide to say they don't want to play anymore, because we're going to be asking them, do you want to play? Do you want to play? And once they decide they don't want to play anymore, then we're going to ask them to please complete a feedback form. So that's what I want to do of how they found this game. So at the same time, you're going to be learning how to store feedback information, create a form, first of all, and how to store feedback information on a text file, which acts as the back end, you could say, basic understanding of how databases work. So now we're going to go and continue with this elif condition. So I'm going to write down, I'm going to zoom in a little just so it's more visible to see the condition. So elif user choice. Now user is going to be changing the choice and doing paper now. So if user choice is paper and computer choice is paper, then again, player is equals to paper, of course. That's what we're going to be putting in. And of course, we're going to be calling this player option. So the player option function. And then after this, we're going to move on to now putting the computer, remember with the similar, with pictures that are the same, we don't put the screen dot add shape. So we're just going to put computer, assign the picture to computer so the computer hand can insert it. So computer is equals to paper. And then of course, we're going to call the computer option function so that it can actually run and insert this picture successfully. Then, because it's a tie, remember we had this coordinates that we were using for ties. So the coordinates was always 280 and 60. So we're just going to use the same thing. So 280 works for us. Y is equals to 60 also works for us. And then, of course, now we're going to be putting the picture of a tie. And then we're putting the winning title. Now, the next condition will be for paper and for scissors. And obviously, that means the computer's winning. So here, if that's the case, we're going to hit enter. And so player will now be inserting paper picture. Player option will be called. We will now make the computer insert scissors. And then, of course, we will now move on to also putting in computer equals to scissors so we don't make the same mistake as we did before. So the computer also inserts this using the computer hand in the computer option function that we have at the top. And then of course here we call the computer option function. And then of course the next thing to do will be to set the coordinates. So in this case, the computer is the one winning. And if you remember, that's win 2. So win 2 meaning that you're going to follow these coordinates. So x is equals to 110 and y is equals to a 0. So that means that the computer is winning. So it's going to say computer wins. And then now we're moving on to the next condition, and that's going to be for paper and rock. So paper and rock, obviously that means that the user wins. So that's for win 2 picture to show. So here we're going to say player equals to paper, and player option we call the function so it can be able to insert this picture. We are adding the rock picture for the computer, and we're calling the computer option function. And because this time the user is winning, remember when the user wins, we're using these coordinates of 240. And so that's really what I put in here. So 240, and the picture is win 1, which obviously means this picture right here that says you win for the computer, and the winning title will be called again. So that's pretty much all of the conditions, guys. Now we're just going to test it. We've done paper, 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 scissors, and we've done paper, rock. So we're going to test it and see how everything works. You remember to go up to your first test case. Make sure you change this to paper, paper. Computer choice, we can keep it as that because we are going to start with paper, paper first, testing it to see if it works. Then we're going to change computer's choice to scissors, and then we're going to change computer's choice to rock for assuming we're taking the paper option consistently. So now I'm going to stop this. I'm going to run it. I'm going to zoom it out so I can get a better view of the screen. And here we'll click on begin. Okay, so we have the player and the computer section. So here I'm going to go paper, paper first. And it says it's a tie, so that's good. That's working fine. So now let's go back up and go to the part where you set the computer's choice. And let's do something like paper, scissors. So the computer chooses scissors, which essentially means that the computer is supposed to win. Now that I'm choosing paper. So click on begin again. And then now I'm going to go paper. And so it's paper, scissors, so it says computer wins. Okay, that's good. That one works successfully. So now I'm going to take away scissors and replace it with rock. And so I'm supposed to win now. So I'm going to rerun again. Click on begin again, and now I choose rock. And what's happening is that it says it's a tie. Oh, wait. I choose rock, and computer is going to choose... What did I set the, oh, I set the computer to choose rock and rock. Okay, so I'm supposed to choose scissors. I mean paper, sorry, because we're doing the paper practice. So I chose rock again, which still shows you that it still works. So that's good. So paper and rock, and now it says I win. So now everything works perfectly in terms of all the conditions. So what you need to do, of course, is you're gonna have to just take away this line that you've put in the computer choice and you've been setting it because you wanted to test the program, seeing if it works. Now that we've finished all the conditions for rock, paper, and scissors, the left thing to do is to ask them if they would like to play the game again and call the function. So really what to do right now is just to take out this part of computer choice equals to rock, so that you can now allow the computer to naturally choose by itself. So make it random, not choice. So we don't really know what the computer will choose in this case. We've now brought it back to the computer choice is equals to random, not choice. So the computer is now the one free to choose what it wants. Since the game, all conditions have been complete. So if I actually run this game, let's see how it works. I'm going to take this all the way here. If I click on run, now, if I choose anything, I'm free to choose whatever I want. I don't know what the computer will choose. I chose scissors and the computer chose scissors. So it's a tie. So let's rerun it again and try doing something else. Maybe I'm going to choose rock and see what the computer will choose. I chose rock. The computer chose paper. So the computer won. So now it's working naturally with allowing the computer to make the choice. All right, so the next thing to do is to ask the user if they would like to play again, and if they say yes, then we are going to clear our screen, and we're going to be putting back our background picture, and I think we call this background computer, not computer. It was called home 1, the home, sorry. So this would be where we need to take our our screen back to, because the player wants to play again. So they go back to home, they click on, you can also make them go back to home one. That means back here. But then that will be a problem because that's following this function and it's already inserting that. So it's a good idea to just take them back to the home. And then from there, they click again to play all over again. So we're not having a scoring situation here where we're scoring them anytime they get to win the computer. We're just allowing it to happen for fun. But the moment they actually say they don't want to play again, that's the part where we'll ask them to please complete a feedback form to say how they felt about this whole program. So here, what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable. So ask users if they would like to play again. And so what's going to happen is I'm creating a variable here and I'm going to call it play again. And I'm going to say equals to string input, and then we will ask them, would you like to play again? Would you like to play again? And then we give them the option of yes or no, question mark and space, and they get to answer whether they want to play again. So now we're going to do if play again is equals to yes, we're going to do screen.clear. And then, of course, we need to call the background. So that's really important. You need to have the background color because I set my background color. And my background color is, it's the color that is black. So that's what I'm going to do now. So that's basically going to be screen.bg color will be black, and then screen.bg pick will go to home because now we've cleared the screen. So we're going to bring back the home screen. And then finally, we're going to call this function again. We'll see if we need to clear like the player hand, but yeah, if we need to do the clearance of the player hand, which I think we do because the player hand's actually in the beginning, that's having a picture, but let's try without clearing it. I feel like when we clear the screen, we delete everything from the screen. The player hands that's used to put like the player picture or the computer picture will be cleared. So let's do start game. We call the start game function because that's the one that starts the whole game. So we call it over here to start. And then we'll say elif player play again is equals to no. So if they decide not to play again. So if play again is equals to no, then we're going to just come down here and print something saying, okay, thank you for playing. And then we'll just say, please complete our, or you could say, we would appreciate it. We would appreciate it if you could rate, or you can say I would appreciate it because you're the one making the game. I would appreciate if you could rate this game, and then if you could leave a feedback, not rate it. Okay, and then you pretty much just have to now call another screen, which we're going to do. We haven't done that yet. So we're going to be calling another screen. So for now, I'm just going to put screen.clear because we're going to be opening another screen. And so screen.bg color. And the other screen is going to be a screen that we're going to design the feedback form, and all that information, we're going to store it in a text file. So right now I just put it to clear and just set the background to black since we don't have the screen ready. So let's try running this program and seeing if the part of do you want to play again works successfully. So I'm going to zoom out again so it can be clear. And this was too zoomed in. Let me take it a little bit to the side here. So you can move this thing. It's very versatile. You can move it in different angles. Oops, there it is. So now if I click begin, we have paper, player, and computer, right? And so now if I select, I'm just going to zoom in a little, zoom out a little, I mean. So if I select, I'm going to try selecting paper and seeing what happens. It says you win. And so now it says, would you like to play again? If I say yes, then okay, everything is going back to player hands, and we don't want to see that. So we definitely need to clear player hands and computer hand. So we don't want to see these things happening. Another thing I want to do is to try to differentiate this part very differently. So I want to do a nice print here with like some sort of little ASCII art, and I want to change the coloring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a print, and then I'm going to do something like this, okay, that will show. And before that, I actually want to do a color that's different from the color that I had for the regular question. And this is where I'm going to go to LeHowie website. And I'm going to go to the 16 colors option. And I will be inserting a different color. So I would like to use like magenta color, and then go back and apply that color. And then we have to clear the player hand and the computer hand, like I said. So because, you know, we don't want to see that those stickers come up. So here I'm going to paste in the color just before that. And there it is. So the magenta color is now inserted. And then here, when we clear the screen, we have to clear the player hand dot clear also, so we don't get to see those posters. And then we clear the computer hand dot clear as well. So that would be that. So those two things have been cleared. Now let's run it again. And we're going to go zoom out, and we're going to click on begin. Oops, need to take this a little bit to the side. Right, there it is. So click on begin, and now we're starting again. So now I'm going to be choosing anything I want again. So I can choose, I'm going to choose rock this time. And it says computer choice. So yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted it to be a little bit different. So if I say yes, okay, we still have this player stuff coming in. And let's see why that's happening. So we did put player hand clear. I'm going to try putting that actually on maybe the hand. And I think that was not player hand, guys, actually. It was hand. Yeah, it was actually hand that was putting in this player and computer, because that was putting in picture. And the picture was for player and computer. So, oh no, it was pen 1. Sorry, guys. Pen 1 and pen 2. Hand was putting in like the title, who's winning. So let's also add, it's okay if you want to keep this player. It's not a bad thing. You can still clear them. That's fine. You can even do hand.clear. So you just add that here. But most importantly, I want to do pen. So we have to clear the pens that are actually inserting these like things on the on the screen. So it's actually pen 1 and pen 2. Pen 1 is inserting the player poster label, and pen 2 is inserting the computer poster label. So let's clear those, and then let's try again. So pen 1 dot clear, we clear it off. Pen 2 dot clear, we clear that off. So we delete them, or you can even hide them if you want, because you're essentially creating them again. So we can try the clear. If it doesn't work, then we're going to try the hide, because hide does mean that it's not going to show. So here I'm going to try again, rock again, and computer's winning if I say yes. Okay, so they're still coming up. That's a problem. And I think one thing we could do, like I said, is to hide, but also because we are clearing the pen 1 clear, pen 2 clear, and then we're basically putting the home screen and starting the game. So that's the reason when we say start game, then these things are going to be played. And it doesn't first ask us to choose. So really what happens with the home is when we put in the home picture, then, which is what I'm looking for right here, where we put in the home. Oh, it's not all the way at the bottom, by the way. So the part where we put in the home was after that, once they click, so we actually have to call the home screen function. So the home screen function is what we're going to call, because this is the one that already has this home going to show. So we don't really need to put the screen.bgpic. That's why we're having this problem. So we're just going to call the home screen function, and it's the one that's going to be responsible to call the start game function. So if we can go back to the part where we asked if you would like to play the game. screen dot clear. I'm just going to take out all of these clears and just keep only the screen dot clear. And then we just have to call the home screen function because it's the one that's going to put the BG color and start everything. So let's call just the home screen function. And so from the home screen function, it will be calling the start game function. So that was a little mistake that I forgot to see when we were actually running it. So let's see how everything works now. So if we go and choose rock, okay, so I say yes again. So now it works perfectly. That's exactly what we wanted. So we wanted it to call the home function and allow us to click again so we can start the whole thing. So this is what we actually supposed to do. So if I choose paper, okay, so there is a little bit of a problem. Let's click on begin. And when I choose in rock, or let's say I choose in rock here, it doesn't give us a choice to put in the pictures. So that would be because now we are clearing screen and we're we're calling the home screen function that's now calling the start game function, right? So that's when it clicks and then it calls the home screen, then it calls the start game, and then when it calls the start game, it says immediately after it says, which do you choose? If I choose rock or anything else, it doesn't really insert for me the pictures. So the reason the problem's happening is once I click begin, I'm just going to run it again just to explain this really clearly, is when I click rock and I do the first run and I say yes, and then I just click again and I do my choice of something like paper, nothing happens, no picture showing. That's because we didn't put the part of where we actually are creating this pen for player hand here at the beginning. We didn't put that inside of the player option. We just basically started with player hand.pen up, and this problem would happen if you don't have the line of code that actually creates the player hand, especially when you're repeating back something all over again that involves the use for you to put pictures. So the solution is to go back and copy this part of player hand equal to turtle.turtle and put it just before player hand.pen up. Then do the same thing for computer hand so that the computer actually knows once it repeats the game again that it needs to have created a computer hand pen and a player hand pen, which will be used to put in those photos, which is the reason why you don't see them on the second run. And then also copy this hand part because that's the one that puts in who's winning. So also go back into the winning title function and then of course put the hand equals to turtle.turtle to create it again in case if the game's being restarted, and then of course that would follow with hand.pinup. So this should fix the problems, and now let's run. So this should fix the latest issue that you may be having. So I'll do paper this time. Okay, so there's a tie. Yes, I want to play again. So I have to go back, click on begin. And again, now let me try clicking scissors. And so I have it working great. That's good. Let's try again. Yes, I want to play again. Click on begin. So now I'm going to click on paper. Let's see what happens. So, okay, I win. Now if I say no, nothing happens. The whole screen goes blank, which is what we wanted, and black color. And this is where we will be telling them to please complete the feedback form. That message is going to come up. So we're going to be making our feedback form in our next video tutorial, and we're going to be saving that as a text file, which will contain feedback from the user, and that is where we will be ending this tutorial video. So I hope you've learned something, and see you in the next tutorial video.